this Black History Month? Why did they give you a month? Isn't it true that they gave you a month to study up on your history? And every day of the year you're reading theirs? How can you be justified in studying your history for 1 month when time doesn't even show when you began on the planet? How can you be justified in reading white folks' history, which is a moment in time, and leaving your own history unread? And what you study for this week is not really your history. You're just studying the accomplishments of a slave who made it under the oppression of his master while he still wears the name of his master. So he's not yet making any history. This is his accomplishments in the history of white people. You agree?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, in the history of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad among us, there was a rise, a fall, a rise again, and then another fall. In the alternation of the day and the night, there are signs for those who fear God. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad met a man in Detroit, Michigan, a man who gave many names, but the name that he left us with, Master Farrakhan Muhammad. Many people say that this somewhat mystery man, Master Farrakhan Muhammad, who taught Elijah Muhammad, was some false man. But as you can tell a tree by the fruit it bears, you can tell a man by his works. Master Farrakhan Muhammad met the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1931. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad recognized him immediately as being the one that the world was looking for. When he heard the words coming out of his mouth, having read the Bible since a young boy, he saw corresponding in the words coming out of this man's mouth something that he had been longing for and someone that he had been hoping and longing for since he was a young boy. So there was an instant love and an instant marriage between these two. What Elijah Muhammad saw in Master Farrakhan Muhammad, he was ordered not to go too far in teaching that man's identity while he was among us, but that Elijah Muhammad should wait until after he was gone. I must say the truth that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the same thing to me. When I was sneaking up on his identity and beginning to publish it over the radio, he called me one day and said, "Brother, don't go too far in that line, lest all the apples roll down out of the cart into the gutter." Now I will tell you today what has been burning in my heart since the 60s, when I first began to see the way I shall explain sight today. Master Farrakhan Muhammad came to the messenger, found him groping, showed him the way. Found him an orphan, took him in, as the Quran teaches. He made him wise and the time of preparation for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was between 40 and 41 months. Nearly 3.5 years. And he gave Elijah Muhammad in that 3.5 years enough wisdom to last for 40 years. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to some of us that it would take him 40 years to understand his mission. Listen good. It would take him 40 years to understand his mission. Well, Master Farad Muhammad suffered in the midst of us. Master Farad Muhammad goes, and a little man named Elijah now is born. We see him darkly and dimly. For many years we call him Mr. Muhammad.
Right.
Elijah Muhammad.
Right, that's right.
Is that right?
That's right.
Later, during the time of Malcolm X, we started calling him the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Messenger Muhammad. He's growing among us. He's doing things that we see, and it's amazing, but we haven't caught on yet.
Yes, sir.
He takes junkies, he straightens them up. You bear witness to this now.
That's right.
We came to the messenger bent over, and when he got finished with us, we were walking tall. Is that right? He came to us, brother, our skin's dark. When he got finished talking to us, we began to shine. Eyes bright. Is that right? Sisters came to him with the mini dress. And when they looked around, sister had on an ankle-length dress. Felt too dignified to put on that filth anymore. The nation of Islam was born out of those who were the worst of the people. The winehead, the pimp, the hustler, the convict, the prostitute. It was only in the late 40s, early 50s, in the middle 50s, that somebody with some kind of college education came to the nation. This is the way all the prophets began. All right. When the government put him in jail, he did nearly 5 years. From 1942, he got out in 1946. Now, from 1946 to 1975 is 29 years. And the 29th chapter of this book, Quran, is called the spider. And the 29th chapter begins like this. I'd like to just read a little of it so that we can come to some agreement here. God introduces the chapter by saying, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Alif Lam Mim, which the scholars say means, I, Allah, am the best knower. Do men think that they will be left alone on saying, we believe and will not be tried? And indeed, we tried those before them, so Allah will certainly know those who are true, and he will know the liars. Now, at the end of 29 years, bringing him to 1975, making a total of 40 years that Elijah Muhammad worked independent of the presence of Master Farad Muhammad. Here now, the nation is going to go under a trial. You got it?
Yes, sir.
The spider spins its web at the darkest hour of the night. Did you know that? Yes, you got to be up kind of early to catch a spider spinning. Usually when you wake up, the web is already spun. Now, when the spider spins its web, all lightweight creatures that fall in the web get caught. But the scientists say if this fly can get out within 3 seconds, it can live. Now the spider can't see, it only feels. And when the web is touched by the fly, it's trying to get out. The spider sitting in the center of the web senses it and then moves quickly to the prey. Yes, sir. Now if the prey gets out in 3 seconds, the spider has no meal. But the interesting thing about that spider is that the spider injects something like a straw with like a needle into the fly, and injects into the fly enzymes which break down the fly's form. Then the spider sucks up the inside of the fly into himself, so that all you got left in the web is the remains. Now, what is God telling us in this chapter? God is telling us that after 29 years of the effort of Elijah Muhammad to rebuild, after 40 years of a great, magnificent history, darkness is going to come over the nation. And it's going to be a deep, deep darkness. And in the dark hour, a spider will come. Yes, sir. And you're going to have time to get out of the web, but it's a short time. And you got to make haste to get out, because when that spider gets to you, he will fill you with enzymes and break down your form. Now you look at all the Muslims that fell in the night, their form has been broken down. Their moral form, their spiritual form, even their physical form is no longer what it was, because a spider injected them with a poisonous doctrine that broke down their form, and he sucked them up. Look at it now.
The importance of this event was not lost among those who were present.
I believe the importance of rebuilding the Nation of Islam, rebuilding the black nation, has a tremendous significance for black people throughout the country. I think the spirit, I think the powerful message that I anticipate that will come out of this conference and this Savior's Day will serve as a lesson for black people throughout this country, for particularly the 80s and 90s to come.
We didn't invite you here to waste your time. We invited you here to give you an earth-shaking announcement that from this day forward, we will be challenged to prove. But if you watch us, if you listen to us, I guarantee you every nation and every kingdom on earth will be rocked by the power coming from this tiny little budding nation that Jesus described as a mustard seed. That's right. But when it germinates and grows and spreads its branches, every fowl and every bird will find a refuge under its wings. You are looking at the birth not just of the Nation of Islam, but the birth of the kingdom of God Almighty on earth. Muslim scholars, you are looking at the birth of the kingdom of Islam. We called you here like the wise men of old who saw a star and they traveled to where the baby was. The baby had no room to come to birth. She had to give birth in a manger, or come to birth in a manger. The wise men who saw the baby came bringing gold. What baby needs gold? All babies that I know of need milk. But here's a baby that needs gold. Gold for what? It's not talking about a child being born from a single mother. It's talking about a nation coming to birth that needs gold to build its own institutions and carve out a destiny for itself. In the Yusuf Ali translation of the Holy Quran, in the 10th chapter, the 6th verse, it reads, "Verily in the alternation of the night and the day, and in all that Allah has created in the heavens and the earth, are signs for those who fear Him." In the alternation of the day and the night, there are signs for you. We have a day to rise up. We have a night to sleep. And this alternation of day and night is seen in the development of all things. We have a time when we slumber and a time when we maximize our efforts in a conscious